Okay, let's start next view graph. Okay, before I enter next slide, I would like to I'd like to share something with you. Okay, as I mentioned in this week, the very first week. Okay, we use those slides. Okay, those are general security concept. Okay, which I will cover in this hour. Okay, that is what we do in the very first week. But after that, okay, we go into more theoretical, algorithm-based, and mathematics-based material, which looks like this. That is what I would like to show you, which is like this. Okay, we talk about some theories about data analysis. Okay, here is some real graph I will explain to you, and I will show you different concept and how to write this program. Okay, those are programs, and those programs will produce the following figures. Okay, and I will explain some mathematical theories. Okay, behind the machine learning or data analysis algorithms. So from next week, okay, I will go over all these details. Okay, it all depends on you. Okay, see if you fit this class, fit in this classroom. If you can comprehend those more program-based or theoretic-based or mathematic-based material. Okay, I will cover all those mathematic algorithm-based things. Okay, I would like to show you the concept behind those algorithms. Okay, it's more like this. And also, I will use some real data in my slide to show how to analyze those data. What is the problem of analyzing such kind of data? If there's anything you need to be, you make sure you notice there are some features of this data and how do you deal with this data. Okay, from next week, our class is more like this. It's not like this week. Okay, not like what I show to you in this week. Okay, so more like program-based thing. Okay, okay. I would like to make sure you understand this class design. Okay, so you 什么？你还没有来？什么？有啊，有，它可能比较慢。有吧？有啊。他说我没有指 online。Check it。有吗？我的左边有，所以这边不会看到。Refresh。那个连接。 So let's continue. So that is exactly how we do in the next following 17 weeks. Okay? Make sure you understand these things. Okay. Let's continue. Or slide. Okay. The next concept, security concept I'd like to share with you is assurance. Okay, in Mandarin it is 确保或是确定保证. Okay, what exactly it means? Okay, here is the example. Because of COVID-19, the university has access control in the gate, right? We have 3 different gates. Every time you pass the gate, you have to show your student ID, right? However, the university block all the other gates, right, with barriers. However, some students will cross those barriers, right, because it's more convenient for them to enter the university, to enter the campus, right? So that is a concept between security and assurance. Okay, the university, the managers, they indeed, okay, now they would like to protect the university, so they set those barriers. Okay, they set those checkpoints in our gate. However, there's always some other people. They bypass those security control. They try to access. Try to enter the campus. Okay, they just break those barriers, right? Okay. So in a company, the situation is almost the same. Okay, there should be some people. Okay, they have to make sure those security control is installed correctly and function correctly, right? So that's called assurance. There are 3 different types of concept of assurance. It's right here. Okay, right here. Auditing, testing, and monitoring. In a company, there's always someone. Okay, they do auditing job, which means they have to check every rules in the security control method, every policy your boss, right? Every rules, every law, regulation, okay, which is correctly applied, deployed in this company. They are auditors. Okay, it is the same. If you install a firewall in your company, try to protect your company from being hacked by hackers. But is it actually the malicious packet, malicious attack, malicious behavior will be blocked by the firewall? Actually, you don't know. So we need someone, which is auditor, to help us to verify if whether the firewall function correctly, installed properly. Okay, so that is auditing. Testing. Okay, it's more like programming development. Okay, you always need to test your unit, functional unit, to make sure those module, those unit work properly. Okay, monitor. To set a lot of different monitors in our systems. No matter it's a login system, no matter it's a database system, it's a web system, whatever, you always need to keep a lot of monitors in your system so that they can record what have you done to the system. Okay, it's a little bit related to the accountability in the security concept. Okay, so basically you need 3 different mechanisms: auditing, testing, and monitoring, to help you to verify if those security controls are correctly implemented. Okay, that is the assurance. So basically those concepts are related to Mandarin 安全. However, they have different concepts behind this word. Okay, safe, security, assurance, CIA, AAA, auditing testing technology. Make sure you understand all those concepts. Okay. So, why do we need security? Okay, the security means there are certain risk. Okay, risk 就是风险，风险。There are certain risk. Okay, risk means it might happen, it might not happen. So basically, we use two components to do risk assessment. Assessment 就是风险评估啊，中文是风险评估，评估。Okay, but how do we assess a risk? Okay, so basically we draw a figure like this. Okay, that's called the risk assessment. It has two important components, two dimensions. The first one is probability. Probability. Okay. The other dimension is impact. Then we draw a matrix like this. For example, okay. There are certain incident. Incident 就是事件的意思啊。Incident 中文是翻事件。There are several incidents which has very high probability that you can see, you can observe in your company. Mid incident and is low. There are several incidents which is rare thing in your company, in your system, or in your program. Okay, probability. The other dimension is impact, which is high, mid, low. Okay, for example, Taiwan has a nuclear power plant, 就是核电厂. Okay, what is the risk assessment? How do we do assessment for nuclear power plant? We expect, okay, we expect such kind of nuclear device or nuclear machine, okay, it should stay very, very safe. Why? Why? Because it has a very, very low, very, very, very low probability it might explode, okay? So it something like here. Nuclear power. When you design a nuclear device, right? It should has a very, very, very low probability some incident might happen, right? But once, unfortunately, it happens, it brings a very, very high impact to our country, right? So how do we do risk assessment? Okay, two dimensions. One part is probability, how often it happens, and the other dimension is if unfortunately it happens, what impact it is, okay, to our company. So let's take a look at this one. So which part of the incident you don't want? Which is right here, the red one. Because this incident, we observe those incidents quite often because it has a high probability, right? And once it happens, it brings a very severe damages to your company, to your system, to your data. So that is not what we want. Right? However, okay, there are several other incidents. For example, right here, orange one. Okay, right here, or right, yeah, the orange one. Okay, the impact is not that severe, right? So it we may tolerance 就是忍受哈 we may tolerance it could happen, it might happen in our company, but we have some we can deal with it. Okay, and also there are certain instances, for example, right here. It is rare thing in our company, and even if we observe such kind of incident, okay, it brings very low impact to our company. So that is still tolerable, 就是可忍受的。Okay, so when we assess, okay, when we assess those risks, okay, the most important thing is you can draw such kind of risk assessment metrics and try to evaluate the incident is in where of these metrics. Okay, so if it is right here, then what you should do? You should tell your boss. So there are some incidents which is quite often seen in our company, in our system, and every time it happens, it brings a lot of tangible or intangible cost or loss to our company. So please give me some money. I will try to use different tools, security tools, different management tools, but no matter what, try to increase or diminish this incident, right? So it's related to cost. If you have enough, you have to prioritize， 就是那个按优先顺序。You have to prioritize how many incidents could happen in your system and where are they in the risk assessment metrics, and you prioritize them, and you spend some money to decrease either the probability of this kind of incident or the impact of this kind of incident, so that you can efficiently use the budget that the boss gives to you and to make your company more secure, more safe. Okay, that is the concept of risk assessment. Right. So there is an important thing is right here. Can we ignore or accept certain risks? The answer is yes. Because based on this risk assessment metrics, there are some incidents which has very low probability and low impact. For such kind of incident, you don't have money or time to solve those kind of incidents, right? So you can simply just accept, okay, because it is rare thing, and every time it happens, it has low impact. So I choose not to solve this kind of incident, security incident, which is very okay in company, right? Because you have to spend your money on more important things, such as the red ones, the orange ones. So you can simply just ignore the green incident in these metrics. Okay. The cost of risk and loss. So I have to evaluate. Okay, if this incident happens, how much money you lose, tangible and intangible, right? So you can make a priority list to solve it one by one. So you don't have to solve all the problems at once. Okay, you have to make a priority list. Okay. Priority and risk. Okay. This concept is like that. If you go to a company, okay, the company give you email address and some ID password or something like that. The question is, can the manager, your boss, your manager, can the manager ask IT staff, and he says, I want to see all of the email content of this employee. Can he do that to you? Do you think your privacy is violent? 中文的意思是说，他可以看你的 email 吗？你的老板 ？Anyone want to say something about such kind of privacy problem? 就这一排的再下一位同学。对啊，可以直接讲。如果在工作中。It says if it is in the company and you use your company email, he can. Because in company, okay, in the company, you are the employee and they give you some resources. For example, email is a resources, and you can use these resources on your work, right? But the email belongs to the company, not you, because they give it to you to use when you are working, when you contact with some other people in the business, right? So you don't own that email account. The company owns the email account. So there's no problem of privacy because it is not belongs to you. So you should not use your company email to do some private stuff. So basically, there's no privacy issue in such kind of scenario. Okay, so that is the privacy problem right here. So basically, if they want to lower some risk, they might do some check. For example, as we mentioned, they have to audit your actions. They have to test. They have to monitor your actions when you are in a company. So there's no private issue in this scenario. So they can use those tools, okay, those concepts to lower the risk. For example, they have to prevent you to steal company data and sell it to someone else, right? So that is this concept. We have talked about this before. We mentioned this before. Okay, asset. Okay. As I mentioned, currently in a company, the asset we talk about is data asset, 资料的 asset. Okay, data asset. Usually, currently, we don't talk about how many machines, how many personal computer a company owns. No, we don't say that in cybersecurity. We say how many data assets you have in the company. So that is the difference between conventional asset and the digital asset. Okay. The first thing is, if you are a data manager, you have to do asset inventory, 就是盘点资料的盘点。When you do the inventory, okay, you have to make sure how many data you have, where are they, who controls data, what is the access control list, who can access data, who can monitor this data, who owns this data. Okay, here's the important things is who owns this data, because there are different roles in data management. Okay, creator, who is the creator of this data? Most of the time, for example, for Amazon, for example, there are a lot of customers, right? They create their account, okay? They buy a lot of different products from Amazon's website. Usually, we view those customers as the data creator because they create this data, right? How they serve how they view those web pages, okay? What is the product they bought, right? But who is the owner? Usually, we will not consider those buying records. Okay, we don't view the customer as the owner of those buying records. Who owns this data? Usually, we say the company owns those data. Of course, those customers can ask the company to delete all this data. It is quite okay. But usually we say that the company owns this data. Okay? But who is the collector? The programmer. The programmer writes some program to collect the buying actions, those buying records. Okay, so they can store those buying records in the database. So the collector is the programmer. However, those programmer does not. We do not view those collector as the owner. They simply just collect the data and put them into the database, but they do not own this data. And the next one is operator. For example, if I would like to start a new project, okay, I would like to analyze the people who in Taiwan they use the Amazon.com. Okay, I would like to know who will be our next potential customer, for example. Okay, that is a new project, but they will hire someone to analyze the past record, past data stored in the database, right? And we usually those programmers, we view them as the operator of this data, right? But they do not own this data as well. The manager, okay? The PM, usually the PM will create such kind of project, right? So the PM, does the PM own this data? No, usually we don't think the PM, the project manager, owns this data. Usually, the database administrator, okay, usually, I say usually we consider the database manager, they can control those data. But in different companies, okay, sometimes the DB manager own those data. So if you want to access those data, you have to request the permission from the DB manager. Says, okay, I'm a PM, I have a new project, I want to analyze some data. Would you please grant my programmer to access your database? Usually. So we should have an access control. Not everyone can access those data. Data access life cycle. So from the very beginning, okay, the data creation, approval, lead, achieve, delete, okay. Because of regulation, regulation 就漏了，就是那些条款或是法律。Because of the regulation, most of the country they request user, which means customers, can ask those companies, for example, Google, Facebook, or Microsoft, Amazon. They can ask, they can request. I can send a request to the company that says, okay, would you please delete all of my records in your system, because I don't want to leave any data, any message, any files on your system. Okay， 就是现在的法规是可以要做这件事情。Data protection. Data protection means when we say, okay, we have some data asset, but where is the data? Where is the data? Theoretically, okay, we say data will be in 3 different places. First, data in transit, which means data is on a network. For example, I send an email to you, so the file is from my email server to your email server through the internet. So data is moving. We have to protect those data because it is on the internet. It is routing in the internet. So most of the time we use some crypto, 就是假借演算法啊， some crypto algorithm to help us to fulfill the confidentiality and the integrity of this data. So the user can feel safe, feel safe to transmit his or her data from his PC to your cloud, your database, your website. So data in transit, we have to protect when the data is in transit. Okay. Second one, data in use. Sometimes, okay, we process this data, okay, do some machine learning or data mining analysis. So when the data is in use or data is in database, right, to create a website, create a web page, okay, by using the data in the database. When data is in processing, is in use, we also have to protect this data so that hacker will not access those data when we process those data. So you need to have a proper, for example, firewall, right, to block the hackers' interaction to the database. So the data in processing, in use, is still safe. Data at rest, this means we store those things in a disk or in a USB drive or in cloud somewhere. So most of the time we use cryptography algorithm to encrypt those data so that even if the data stored in the cloud is stolen by the hackers, we still be safe. So that when you think about how do we protect this data, okay, we can use the three different concepts. Where is the data? Okay, it's in transit or in use or at rest. At rest 就是在某个地方的意思哈。Okay. Disaster recovery. Okay. Even if we have a lot of module, function, firewall, method to help us to keep our company safe. Okay, we have a lot of security control, we have a lot of assurance policy methods. Sometimes, okay, this disaster happens. Right. So, what is my critical function? If any function in your company, if it fails, then your entire company fails. You have to make sure you pay attention to this function. You have to protect this function or this module or this areas. Because when it fails, your entire company or your entire website may fail. Just you have to identify such kind of critical function. Okay? And there are two different concepts, which is called recovery point objective, recovery time objective. Okay? That means if disaster really happens in your company, what is the lead time? Lead time 就是反应中文反应时间嘛，就是一个时间。What is the time your data get lost? And what is the time you can recover the data to the data point before the disaster happened? 好像听懂了，这英文长哦，就是那个时间有多少时间你有准备的时间，让你的系统回复到 disaster 发生之前的那个状况，那你会有个时间差，因为你需要时间 process。对 ，because you need some time to make sure your backup system can recover this disaster. So the time is recovery point objective, recovery time. Okay. Point objective. You can simply just Google these two words. Okay, they will show you a very beautiful graph and show you when disaster happens and how much time you can respond to this disaster and how much time you can recover from this disaster. Okay, there's two different time span. Time span 时间长度time span. Make sure when you deploy a new project, new system, new whatever, new device in your company, make sure you know what is your critical function and what if this critical function fails and how did you recover your system. and what is the time span of your recovery point objective and recovery time objective. Make sure you know that. 就是你要有18套剧本，先确定那些坏事发生的时候你要怎么反应，反应的时间有多少，然后你有多少时间可以 recover， 然后在这段时间你受的损失，你有没有办法承受？然后就回去刚刚那个 matrix 里面那个 cost， 那你不要花 cost 把这个东西解决掉，让时间更短。Make sure you understand all those things. Okay, so it depends. So if you want to shorten those time span, okay, make sure you spend make sure you have enough money to shorten those time spent. And how did you shorten those time spent? You have to spend a lot of money, okay, based on the priority list which we listed in the risk assessment matrix. Okay, all those things are related. Okay, to make sure your company become safer. So you have a lot of things security control need to do. However, okay, that is quite how to say. However, it is quite complex to do security management. So basically, we will simply just stop here. But if you really interested in those things and you want to be a security manager, what else you can do? There are several different guidance, policies, standards, regulation, laws. Okay, for example, it's right here. ISO 27000 就是 ISO 27001系列的标准。Okay, let's define what you should do if you want your company to become safer. Okay, a lot of sections, a lot of chapters. They teach you how to do the access control list, how to assess your risk. Okay, how do you prioritize your incident, and how do you deploy your firewall or something like that. Okay, so there are several ISO 是国际标准组织嘛 ，OK， 27000 ，OK. The other one is NIST 800. NIST 800 it is the standard made by USA. 就是美国的国家标准里面有一个 NIST 800系列 ，OK， or you can go to some security class, okay, and get some certification， 就是考试啦，去考那个证照哦。CISSP, I believe it is the most highest, the greatest security certificate you can obtain. Okay, I think in Taiwan, I think. Only less than 2,000 people have 2,000 people. They have such kind of certification. Of course, there are some other certification. Okay, it's quite helpful for you to, for example, apply a security job, something like that. Okay. However, to get those certification is not cheap. CSSP 好像要快要1000块美金，我有点忘记了，反正很贵。It is quite expensive to get such kind of certification. Okay, of course there are some other rules or regulations. This one is for health. This one is for data exchange. This one is for privacy. Okay, you can just simply Google all those things. Okay, make sure you understand all this. And of course, that is quite important. Awareness and training. Most of the company they will do security training for all those employees. So I think it is quite important. That is the reason why I serve this class. I offer this class in the MIS department because I believe most of the students you might interested in working security related job. So basically, those things you have to familiar with all the things. Okay. That's all the additional materials in the Wikipedia about this. So We have 10 minutes. Okay, we have 10 minutes, so we simply just let's see. I think we can simply just stop right here. So let's take 10-minute break, and we come back later at 11. Okay, at 11, and we start to another slide. Another slide, we teach you what is cyber attack. Okay, there are different types of cyber attack, like virus. If you're familiar with virus, botnet, 叫僵尸网络 or worm, 网络蠕虫. Okay, we simply just pick some cyber attack example, so we can get familiar with those attacks. Okay, let's take 10-minute break.